So I've been asked countless times, if I were a beginner on a budget, which way would I go? Would I go with corded tools or cordless? And up until now, I've always said if you're on a budget, besides a drill and driver, it's always going to be cheaper to go corded. But then I got to thinking, maybe my information is out of date. The demand for cordless tools have gone up, but the competition for cordless tools has also gone up. I mean, every time that you turn around, there is a new corded tool that is now cordless. So I took a deep dive into what I think are the most important tools that you should have in your shop, and whether it's a better deal to go with the corded version or the cordless. And the results, they actually surprised me. So let's dive into it. So like I said, these are some of the corded tools that I started off with. It's actually not the first tools that I've started off with. I started off with a box saw, hammer, and nails. And as I would save my money, I would pick up different used items that I could afford. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So if you're working on a budget and you're buying items as you go, hit up Facebook Marketplace and you can buy used tools for a fraction of the cost of what you can buy new. But let's just say that you are just getting into woodworking and you have an extra $500-600 that you want to spend on new tools. Which one should you choose? Corded or cordless? Which one will fall within that budget? So like I mentioned, I did a deep dive on comparing the prices of buying new corded tools versus new cordless tools. Now, just to say this right off the top, really it doesn't matter if you buy a cordless tool or a corded tool. They all have the exact same function. For the smaller tools, really the only difference is going to be portability. Now, as we get into larger tools like miter saw, table saw, things like that, we'll take into consideration whether we should even think about buying the cordless version. So before I talk about the 7 tools that I think that every woodworker should have and then get into the comparisons of the two, I just want to get out of the way that this video is in no way sponsored by any of the tool brands that you're about to see. And honestly, I am not tool picky. Yes, you do see a lot of yellow in my shop, but there's a reason for that. I received a DeWalt drill driver combo as a gift, and you know how things go from there. You kind of get battery locked into a brand. But besides that, as long as a tool does the job, I'm going to use it. Just like this super old Craftsman sander that still shocks me every time that I use it. Don't use it if it shocks you. Yes, there may be some brands that are better than others, but you do you. Look at the age of some of these tools that I still have and still use. So the 7 tools that I'm talking about that I think that every woodworker should start with, whenever I say 7 tools, I'm talking about power tools. So of course we all need tape measures. We're going to need a couple clamps. We're going to need a square, things like that. But whenever it comes to power tools, number 1, a drill and driver set. These, regardless of which you decide to go with, corded or cordless, you're going to want a battery powered drill and driver. And one of the main reasons, you can pick them up depending on brand for as low as $100 a set, and it will be the best money that you've ever spent, especially for this baby, the driver. This is one item that I could not even find in a corded version besides maybe like a hammer drill or something like that, which you're not going to need starting out. For the $100, definitely go this way, because just a cheap corded drill by itself, it's going to cost you around $60. So we have the drill driver combo as a must. Next up will be a circular saw, a jigsaw, which is one of the most underrated and valued tools in a woodworking shop, a sander, and I'm actually going to go as far as to say a palm sander of some sort, not necessarily this fire hazard here, a miter saw, which I'll go over the several different styles and versions of those. Then of course the table saw. The table saw I will not be covering today because honestly I don't think that the technology is there yet for an affordable battery-powered table saw that will actually do a decent job. So right off the bat, I'm going to say go with a corded version of a table saw. So what's changed to make me think about, if I had to start from scratch right now, would I go with corded or cordless? And the very simple answer for that is technology. Technology in anything cordless has changed tremendously and is constantly changing and getting better. So as an example here, I pretty much lined up the evolution of the drill. This was one of my very first cordless tools. Look at that big monster. And as you can see, over the years, the technology got better to the point where they could take what this beast can do and fit it into a drill half the size and half the weight. But besides the technology in the cordless tools themselves, the main thing that's changed is the technology of batteries. So batteries, who remembers these big babies? I mean, they weigh like a couple pounds a piece, and then the drill itself, I mean, it weighs a few pounds at least. By the time you add these two together, this is what you're dealing with. Okay, using this thing all day long, I mean, it's heavy. So this is the 2 amp 18 volt battery that I started off with, and this is a 2 amp 20 volt battery that I use now. Look at the size difference in these things. And the weight difference is night and day. So how were they able to fit just as much power into one of these as they did one of these? That all came with lithium ion. Lithium ion batteries are lighter and have the ability to store more energy in each one of its cells, resulting in a battery that is a lot smaller but just as powerful. Not only that, the lithium ion battery also has the ability to discharge power at higher rates, allowing us to make larger tools that can run off of a battery. And we could go over all kinds of little details about how the lithium ion batteries are better than the old style of batteries, but if you've been doing this for a while, you already know. Who remembers this baby? When this baby first came out, I was pumped. I could take a saw anywhere that I wanted and use it for about 38 seconds. That's about what you could get out of this battery. You go to cut a limb, you go to cut whatever. You guys that have used these before, you know what I'm talking about. So now that I've taken a long way to basically tell you that the technology of the tool is better and the technology of the battery is way better, let's hit the most important topic that made me decide to talk about this: the price. So when battery powered tools were first starting to come out, they were super expensive, especially as each new tool was created. So cordless tools were always a luxury, and in a lot of cases they still are. But there's been a huge turn in cordless tool pricing because of the demand and the competition. Typically whenever you have high demand for something, the price goes up. But whenever your competition is trying to undercut you every single day, then the roles reverse and things start getting cheaper. So whenever I was doing my research on this, I chose to compare all of the exact same brands so we could actually get a fair comparison between corded and cordless. And for this comparison, I chose Ryobi. The reason why is because it is a popular brand, and personally, I've never used it before. So that's going to keep me from being partial from one thing to the other. So the first thing that I looked at were the table saws. Again, I told you earlier in the video that personally, I do not think the table saws are there yet. They may be completely wrong, but from someone that works with table saws every single day, I know how much power that it takes to keep one running at the RPMs needed to make quality cuts. But just in case you wanted to go all cordless, I'll throw this up here. Again, I'm not going to throw this into the overall comparison. So for $230, you can get a corded 10-inch table saw with a stand. Personally, I don't think that's bad. Just make sure that it has a decent fence system that locks on both ends. And if you decided that you wanted to go cordless, it's $400 for the cordless version plus 2 batteries. But I wouldn't actually buy just that table saw by itself. I would throw it into a combo because Ryobi actually has a decent combo with a miter saw and a table saw. And combos are going to be key whenever it comes to getting the most for your money. So let's throw table saws out of the way. I just threw that up there for your information. Honestly, if it were me, even at that couple $100 range, I'd get on the marketplace, buy an older contractor table saw with a cast iron top, and you can pretty much do anything that you would like. But again, that's just me. The next thing is going to be the drill driver combo. And again, like I said at the beginning, this is just something that I'm going to throw into both categories, the cordless and the corded, because you are going to want one of these. And for a drill driver combo for $100 with 2 batteries included, that's just a no-brainer. Okay, you couldn't buy the batteries for that. So again, this is where the value comes in for the combo deals. You can make out the list of the items that you want, stack together different combos to get the batteries that you want and to also get the tools that you want. Now, trust me, they make this super confusing. They make it super hard to choose because they're just adding in. There's a billion different combos out there, and every brand does this. They're going to throw in junk that you don't even need just to say that it's a 13-piece combo or whatever. So they're going to load this thing down with flashlights and all this other stuff. So you may have to dig hard. I know that I did just to come up with the items that I'm talking about today. So again, drill driver combo, $100. We're going to put that into both the corded and the cordless, just because regardless of which one that you choose to go with, you're going to need them. So to see what our corded total will be for all of these tools, let's check them out. So we have a corded 10-inch sliding miter saw, which honestly a 10-inch sliding miter saw will be all that you need. The only difference between this and a 12-inch is going to be that this one can make a 12-inch cut and the 12-inch sliding miter can make a 14-inch cut. So 14-inch cut's kind of an odd cut. So if I were doing this all over again, 10 inches is the way that I would go. So that 10-inch dual bevel sliding miter saw is $270. Then we need a circular saw, which is $70. Corded jigsaw, which is $80. The palm sander is $70. And then the combo kit that we said that's going to go with both, $100 for a grand total of $590 for all of these tools in a corded version, except for the drill and driver. So for the cordless side, batteries are going to be a big thing that we're going to have to think about. No, you don't need 15 batteries for different things, but you at least need 2 2-amp-hour batteries, which are already coming with a drill driver set. These batteries are going to be powerful enough to run, of course, your drill driver, your sander, and your jigsaw. So the smaller items of your must-haves. Now for the larger items, I'm going to say like a circular saw and a miter saw, you're going to need a bigger battery. So at least one 4 amp hour batteries. And basically the only difference between the 2 and the 4 is that the 4 holds twice as much power. So you use the larger ones on the tools, it's going to put more of a strain on your battery. Again, like the miter saw or the circular saw. So for the list of the cordless items, I know that I want 2 of the 2 amp hour batteries, at least one 4 amp hour battery. I want the drill driver, the miter saw, jigsaw, circular saw, and a palm sander. So I started looking at the combos, and of course there's not one out there that has all of those things that I want in those. So I started looking at like the 2-tool combos. Yes, you can buy each one of these things as a bare tool, but more often than not, it's going to be a lot higher if you do it that way. Then you will have to buy the batteries, which the batteries oftentimes are the most expensive things with cordless tools. So you look for the deals that kind of throw the batteries in there. So now let's take a look at what I could put together as a cordless kit. Also made sure that the tool's power and RPMs were around the same for a fair comparison. So we already have in this group a drill and driver combo with 2 amp hour batteries. Heck of a deal. Now let's get into our biggie, our 10-inch sliding compound miter saw. And this one actually really surprised me. They have this brushless 10-inch sliding miter saw with a 4 amp hour battery for $260. Okay, so that's only $10 difference in the corded version. You get the upgraded brushless version. So that's actually a really good deal, especially on a machine that the company claims that you can get 550 cuts. Now again, I haven't personally used this cordless miter saw, but I've used 2 other brands of cordless miter saws. And to be honest, they kind of blew my mind on how long the batteries would last in these things and how clean of a cut that they would make. So I'm going with this one all day long at $260. So now we have the 3 different batteries that I wanted, the 2 amp hours and the 1 4 amp hour. Now you do not need a battery for every single cordless tool that you have because you can only use one tool at once, but it is handy to have a few. Now keep in mind that all the prices that I'm talking about are as of right now. So prices change all the time, and that's going to be for any brand that you're looking at. So really there's only 3 things left that I need to add to this. That's going to be a circular saw, jigsaw, and a palm sander. So check this deal out. This is a circular saw jigsaw combo without batteries. So you get 2 bare tools for $80. We already have the batteries that we need to run these 2, so throwing these 2 in the cart. And then we just need a palm sander. I could not find it in a combo that worked with any of these, so the bare tool is $59. But if you wanted to add a tool that wasn't on my list, if you wanted to add in a palm router, check out this deal. So for $99, you can get the palm router and the palm sander. I'm not going to put that one in there even though it is the best deal because it wasn't on our original list. So when we add up all the cordless tools, we get a grand total of $500. And if we want to compare it to our corded tools at $590, we have a winner. So this is just showing you that times have changed, technology has changed, and now finally you can start woodworking with cordless tools for a lower price than you can with a corded tool. So again, I'm just showing you all of this stuff as an example, taking my personal preference out of it besides for the table saw. Just like for the corded and cordless palm sander, it kind of goes into a gray area of I actually think that you need both. If you're just starting out and you can get it in a combo, go ahead and buy the corded version. The cordless version is super handy for small jobs or just finishing up a couple of things. But if you are getting into a big sanding job, I personally want a corded sander because as that battery weakens, the head's going to move slower and then you're going to end up with an uneven finish. So with all of that being said, and I had to start all over on a budget, the cordless version for most of my tools is the way that I would go. Not only would it cost less to get started, but I would not have to worry about running extension cords, finding power, or using a generator if I'm off on a site. So I just thought that I would take a little time to break all of this stuff down for you guys because it is overwhelming looking at the tools that these big box stores offer and all of these different styles and brands. In no way am I telling you to go out and buy new tools just because they are good deals. Use what you have, and whenever it's time, then maybe you can go up to one of these different items. But even if you are starting out like I did with a box saw and hammer and nails, do it. Just start out. Get into woodworking. That is the first step to just get started. I hope that this video helped you out a little bit on comparing corded and cordless. Until next time, guys, go make something. Don't care what it is. Don't care what you use. Don't care what brand you use. Just make something. We'll see you.